The key traits of creative thinking. Creative thinkers are a unique breed. Their minds are tapestry interwoven with various traits that set them apart. While creativity manifests differently in every individual, there are common characteristics that underpin the thought process of many who thrive on innovation and imagination. This section explores these key traits, with insights from thought leaders and examples to illuminate the path of creative endeavour. Driven by passion. Passion is the fuel that ignites the creative spirit. It is the driving force that compels individuals to pursue their vision relentlessly. Dr. Jordan Peterson, a prominent figure in understanding human behaviour, asserts that creative achievement requires courage and the pursuit of what you find meaningful. Consider the passion of Steve Jobs, whose zeal for perfecting personal computing shaped an entire industry and transformed how we interact with technology. While being driven by passion is often seen as a positive trait for creative thinkers, there are potential downsides to consider. Passion can sometimes lead to what is known as burnout, where intense dedication causes mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion. When individuals become too absorbed in their pursuits, they might neglect other important aspects of life, like health, relationships, and a balanced lifestyle. Additionally, passion can sometimes blind one to constructive criticism or necessary pivots. As author and organisational consultant Jim Collins put it, the signature of mediocrity is not an unwillingness to change. The signature of mediocrity is chronic inconsistency. Creative individuals must guard against stubbornness that can accompany passion, maintaining the flexibility to adapt and recalibrate when their chosen path doesn't yield the desired outcomes. The COVID-19 pandemic starkly highlighted the challenges creatives face when their passions cannot be channeled due to circumstances beyond their control. For instance, many artists and performers who are traditionally reliant on live, in-person venues suffered considerably as theatres, galleries and concert halls closed indefinitely. Their dedication and passion, traits that once fueled their careers, suddenly became sources of frustration in the face of widespread lockdowns and social distancing measures. Unable to diversify quickly into digital platforms or alternative mediums, these creatives often experience the very burnout associated with intense passion, without the outlet or audience to sustain their craft. The emotional toll was magnified as they grappled with a loss of identity and purpose, alongside the practical economic impacts. In the harsh light of the pandemic, the inability or unwillingness to change, as Jim Collins mentioned, became a significant impediment. Those who had occupied niche roles found themselves at a huge disadvantage, their specialisation suddenly a liability rather than a strength. The conditions demanded rapid adaptability and a pivot to new models or delivery, such as virtual art galleries or streaming of performances and online marketplaces, which may have been resisted or unfeasible for some. Moreover, the pandemic underlined the need for discipline and structure in a creative's life. With the external structures of performance and exhibitions and collaborations removed, many found it challenging to maintain the self-discipline necessary to continue creating and pursuing their projects within the confines of their homes. The lessons learned during this time underscore the importance of creatives developing a varied skill and the ability to pivot and adapt. It has become clear that a successful creative career must be underpinned by both passion and practicality, with an openness to explore new avenues and the resilience to withstand unprecedented changes in the external environment. Openness to experience. The willingness to explore unfamiliar territories and embrace new ideas is a hallmark of creative minds. This openness enables one to absorb a broader range of influences and perspectives, which can then be synthesized into original concepts. The artistic work of Pablo Picasso, who was continually evolving and experimenting with styles throughout his career, exemplifies this trait. Being open to experience is often celebrated as a key trait of creative individuals, fostering intellectual curiosity and a willingness to engage with novel ideas and diverse perspectives. However, like any characteristic, extreme openness may have its drawbacks. One potential negative of being highly open to experience is becoming overstimulated or overwhelmed by an excess of new experiences and information. This can lead to difficulty in focusing and making decisions, as one can be pulled in many directions without committing to a single course of action. You may find yourself perpetually starting new projects without completing them, or constantly shifting interests, which can be counterproductive in achieving long-term goals. Another downside may be a vulnerability to unconventional and risky behaviours. People with high openness are often drawn to novel experiences, which can sometimes lead to high-risk activities or unhealthy experimentation. Divergent thinking. Creative thinkers rarely follow a straight path. Instead, they navigate their labyrinth of non-linear thinking. This approach allows them to leap between ideas and perceive connections that others might miss. Nearly all major scientific breakthroughs, from Newton's law of motion to Einstein's theory of general relativity, owe their genesis to non-linear thinking that challenged conventional wisdom. This specific area we'll be delving into deeply a little later. Risk-taking and resilience. To create often means to venture into the unknown, which means taking risks. With every risk comes the possibility of failure. But creative individuals are resilient. They bounce back, learn from their mistakes, and continue to innovate. J.K. Rowling's initial rejections from publishers didn't deter her. Her perseverance and risk-taking led to the unprecedented success of the Harry Potter series. Persistent risk-taking, however, might lead to a cycle of chasing losses, where one continues to take risks in the hope of recouping past setbacks, which can exasperate the situation. Moreover, while resilience, the ability to recover from failures and setbacks, is admired and necessary for a successful creative career, it can also have its downsides. Excessive resilience might mask the need to reassess and change course. There is a fine line between bouncing back from failure and persisting with a failing strategy due to an overly resilient mindset. This can lead to what is sometimes referred to as the sunk cost fallacy, where individuals continue to invest time, money, or effort into unrewarding endeavours simply because they've already invested a lot. Furthermore, a high degree of resilience might prevent an individual from acknowledging the emotional impact of their setbacks. Suppressing feelings can lead to long-term stress and burnout, which can be detrimental to overall well-being. It's interesting to note here that studies have shown that those that follow a creative career path or are encompassed in creative thinking methodologies tend to suffer more from bouts of anxiety and depression. And this is where it becomes really important that we lay this foundation of understanding ourselves and understanding why we're tripping up, why we're continuously doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. Because if we don't, this is what takes us to these dark places. For creatives, balancing risk-taking with strategic thinking and allowing them to experience and learn from the emotional impact of their setbacks are key aspects of maintaining a sustainable and productive career. Emotional sensitivity. A heightened emotional sensitivity allows creatives to tap into deep emotions and express them through their medium. This trait can result in works that resonate powerfully with others. Emotional sensitive individuals can also be prone to feelings of rejection and criticism, which might occur frequently in creative fields where personal expression is subject to public scrutiny. They may take negative feedback more personally, which can affect their confidence and hinder their willingness to share their work. High emotional sensitivity can lead to heightened empathy, which, while positive, can sometimes be overwhelming. Being deeply attuned to the emotions of others means that creatives may find themselves taking on the stress, anxiety, or sadness of people around them, leading to emotional exhaustion and compassion fatigue. Another issue that can arise is overstimulation. Emotionally sensitive creatives are often more affected by their environment and can find themselves overstimulated by intense situations, which can be distracting and draining, impeding their ability to focus and create. Lastly, emotional sensitive individuals might struggle to maintain boundaries between their personal and professional lives. Their sensitivity can cause them to become too personally invested in their projects or the projects of their colleagues, which can lead to a lack of balance and difficulty in detaching from their work. Making connections. Creativity often involves linking different ideas to forge something new. Steve Jobs once says, creativity is just connecting things. The iPhone, for example, was not the first smartphone, not the first MP3 player, but Jobs' ability to connect existing concepts, resulting in a groundbreaking device. In creativity, making connections often leads to a phenomenon known as conceptual blending, where ideas from different fields are merged to create new ideas. For instance, the discipline of biomimicry involves taking inspiration from nature to solve human problems. The invention of Velcro, inspired by the way buds stick to animal fur, is a classic example of making connections between the natural world and practical design. Making connections is not just limited to product innovation, it's also critical in artistic creativity. Great artists often combine elements from different art forms, historical periods, or cultural backgrounds to produce works that communicate complex, emotive ideas. Hamilton is an excellent example. It connects historical narrative with modern musical styles like hip-hop and R&B, redefining what a Broadway musical can be and how it can connect with a wide array of audiences. Furthermore, making connections is crucial for fostering a holistic understanding of the world. It allows us to see patterns, trends, and implications that inform our critical thinking, and it enhances our capacity to engage in interdisciplinary thinking, which is increasingly valuable in a complex, interconnected global society. However, the ability to make valuable connections relies not just on the breadth of one's knowledge or experiences, but also on the depth of understanding in various areas. A creative individual might be able to dive deep enough into individual subjects to understand how they may relate to them in novel ways. This depth ensures that connections made are not superficial, but are instead robust and potentially groundbreaking. In essence, the importance of making connections in creativity lies in its power to foster innovation, enrich artistic expression, and deepen our understanding of the world, leading to advancements and insights that propel human progress. Imagination and originality are the twin pillars upon which the edifice of creativity is built. They represent the intrinsic human ability not only to envisage concepts and realities beyond what exists, but also to manifest these visions in ways that are unique and unprecedented. Imagination and originality. Imagination is the creative faculty that allows us to transcend the limitations of our current circumstances, to dream of worlds that have never been. It is the place where curiosity and wonder meet, giving rise to the what-if scenarios that are the seeds of creative thought. Albert Einstein, whose theoretical insights revolutionized our understanding of space and time, aptly noted that imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. Originality, on the other hand, is the distinct application of imagination. It is the ability to produce something fresh and unexpected. Originality changes the status quo and brings forth new modes of expression, new solutions to problems, and novel ways of understanding. It is clasped tightly to the concept of innovation, the process of introducing newness into the world, which in itself is a driver for cultural and technological advancement. However, originality is not just about the new. It is equally about the authentic. Authenticity is the genuine expression of the individual, unmarred by imitation or the undue influence of prevailing trends. Original works, whether they be in art, literature, science, or technology, bear the indelible mark of the creator's personal vision and stand apart in their uniqueness. Consider the work of Vincent van Gogh, whose paintings exhibit an original style that was not fully appreciated during his lifetime, but later influenced generations of artists. While creativity is sometimes mistakenly thought of as the spontaneous generation of ideas from nothing, in practice, both imagination and originality often require a foundation, a synthesis of learning and experience, and the conscious and the unconscious absorption of the world around us. Our neural pathways link knowledge and experiences in novel configurations, producing original thoughts. In an ever-changing world, imagination and originality are not merely desirable traits, they are essential to progress and adaptation. From the arts to science, from entrepreneurship to social reform, they enable us to envision and create a future that is not just a mere extension of the present, but is rather an improved, more expansive realm of possibility. So to conclude, understanding the full spectrum of traits associated with creative thinking allows individuals to harness their strengths and address their vulnerabilities, thereby building a more sustainable and resilient creative career. Creatives who recognise their passion can learn to gauge their intensity and dedication to prevent burnout. Acknowledging the potential for passion to cloud judgment or cause neglect of others' life facets means that individual can strive for a healthier work-life balance. Being aware of both the constructive and destructive sides of their traits enables them to leverage the positive while guarding against the negative. Understanding the downside of risk-taking can lead to more calculated decisions. Creatives equipped with the awareness can learn to take informed risks by assessing potential outcomes and establishing safety nets, such as diversing income streams or investing in continuous learning. For those who are emotionally sensitive, recognizing the potential challenges of this trait can encourage them to develop strategies to manage emotional overload and maintain their well-being. This could involve setting boundaries, practicing mindfulness techniques, and seeking supportive communities or professional help when needed. Understanding the value of resilience can help creatives endure the inevitable ups and downs of a creative profession. Simultaneously, they must also be cognizant of when persistence turns into obstinance. This awareness could compel a creative individual to remain flexible, to pivot when necessary, and know when to move on from projects that no longer serve their goals. Critical engagement with ideas, openness to experience is a boon for creativity, but recognizing its potential drawbacks can encourage a more discerning approach to new experiences and ideas. Creators can use critical thinking to sift through the influx of new information, retaining what is beneficial and that aligns with their personal and professional ethos. The pitfalls of undervaluing discipline and structure underscore the need for a sustainable routine. Creatives aware of this can establish habits and processes that enable them to channel their creativity into productive output systematically. Making connections is central to creativity. Realising that original ideas often spring from existing ones, creatives can actively seek out collaboration and expose themselves to a variety of influences while still aiming to maintain their unique voice, learning to blend inspiration with personal innovation. Comprehensively understanding one's creative profile with its strengths and potential weaknesses can offer creatives the tools to navigate their careers strategically. By leveraging their positive traits and mitigating the negative ones, creatives can establish more sustainable practices that support their long-term goals and help them to continually adapt in an ever-changing marketplace. So what are your traits? Why not start looking at each element and write an example of where in your life that has positively or negatively affected you? This will allow you to really assess if you are using your creative traits to their full positive effect or not, and will allow you to be more mindful of that area and start to address it. Sometimes knowing the games we play and being aware of the holes we fall into allows us to be able to start making small changes, taking those negative aspects and turning them into a positive creative trait.